Hello everyone, happy Friday. It's time for some Friday night simple stamping with the Nothing's Better Than stamp set by Stampin' Up. Now this is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And tonight I'm going to show you some fun techniques that you can use with just stamps, ink, and paper to make really cute, fun cards. So these are the three we're going to be making. And as I said, we're using the Nothing's Better Than stamp set. Now this stamp set has 26 stamps in it. It is a huge set and has so many awesome sentiments and great images, making this a really awesome set for a beginner stamper. Now we're going to make, as I said, these three cards. I featured this along with the coordinating dies on Tuesday, so you'll want to check out that video as well. But tonight we're keeping it simple, so just the stamp set, ink, and cardstock, and I'm going to show you how to make these fun cards. Now I am just going to say we're about to get hammered with a major thunderstorm here. So if you hear a whole lot of crashing and banging, my house isn't falling down. It's just that it's like pitch dark outside my house right now. So if you hear a lot of banging, don't worry. Hopefully the power stays on and the lights stay on and we're good. Now I'm just going to pull up my video on my iPad here so I can see who's with me. Let's see. Hi Cheryl. Hi Krista. Hi Louise. I'm sure, Louise, you're in my neighborhood, so you probably know just how dark it is outside right now. It's crazy. All right, we are going to start with a super simple card, which is this one. Now, this is any crafter, anybody could do this, okay? This is like the ultimate in simple stamping. Look this is all the pieces that you need. Okay, you could even get away without this one. So you just need a piece of Whisper White and a piece of early espresso. So we're going to start with, as I said, a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And we are going to stamp ourselves some cookies. So I am going to use the 2 stamps for the cookies that are in the stamp set. Now I'm going to actually show you them on the stamp case because they're easier to see than on the photopolymer. So I'm stamping the outline, this one here, with early espresso ink, and then I'm going to stamp the solid image that fills in that outline with cinnamon cider. Okay, so let's start with our outline stamp. Hi Jen. Hi Alfie. We're having a big time thunderstorm here. It's crazy. It's so dark. But you know what? I'm not going to complain because we desperately need the rain. Desperately. We had a big dump earlier this afternoon as well, so our lawns are getting well watered finally. Maybe they'll come back to life. One can hope, right? All right, so I'm just going to stamp a few cookies kind of down the front of my cardstock here, okay? And again, I'm using the early espresso ink to stamp those. Then I'm going to come in with some cinnamon cider. Now this is one of our new in colors. It's a yummy color, and it is the perfect color for chocolate chip cookies if you ask me. So this is a solid image stamp. So when you are trying to ink up, I'm just going to show you something. When you're trying to ink a solid image stamp, if you just press once and pull up, you're going to get a lot of patchiness. When you are inking a really solid stamp that has a lot of real estate, as I like to say, you want to tap several times and in different spots on your ink pad. And that will give you the best possible inking. Now, I am going to attempt to line these up without actually being able to look straight down on them because my camera's in the way. See, that was not a good one. It is not as easy as you might guess, because I can't look right straight over top of it. So we're just going to take our time and try to line these up as best we can. That wasn't bad. Last one, keep your fingers crossed. Hope this one works. Not bad. Okay, so we just had one bad one. All right, so there are our yummy cookies. And then we are going to take the cookies word, the stamp, and I'm going to ink it up in some Coastal Cabana, which is a fun, it's actually one of my favorite colors. And then, before I put that away, actually, I need my little asterisk stamp. And we are going to stamp a few little asterisks with our cookies here. I love this little stamp. It just adds a little bit of fun to your stamped image or to your projects. And yeah, It's just fun. I like it. Where it needs one more. I can't decide where. I think I'm going to put one right here. Just kind of off the page. Okay, so we're going to put that one away. And then I'm going to grab the sentiment that says, "You're just like," and I'm going to come back with my early espresso. And I'm going to stamp this. Now this is going to be a real challenge because I have to try and stamp it straight. Let's start with a straight stamp mounted on the block. This is not mounted straight, so I'm setting myself up for disaster. So when you're trying to mount your stamp straight, what I like to do is use my grid paper to make sure that it's in a straight line on my grid paper, and then, that's better, mount it on my block. And this is where we hope and pray that this is relatively straight. Not bad. A little bit crooked. That's all right. Okay, so that's it. That's all the stamping on this card. So quick and easy. So I'm going to layer this now on a piece of Coastal Cabana. So this is the same color cardstock as the ink. And this piece is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's 1/8 of an inch larger on both sides than the Whisper White was. And you're going to see when I layer it, I get a nice border. Oh, Arlene, you're missing the rain. Yeah, I bet you'll get it later. There's a huge line of thunderstorms coming across the province, so you'll probably get it. Hi, Gail. You'll get it. I'm betting we're sending it your way. It's moving west to east, so I'm sure you will get it in the next hour or two. We are getting quite the downpour. All right. So the nice thing about the Tombow, this is our multi-purpose liquid glue, is it gives you that wiggle time when you put down your paper so that you can make sure that your borders are nice and even. Then I'm going to grab my early espresso card base. So this is 4 1/4 inches by 11, and it's scored in the middle at 5 1/2. Now, if you don't have a score, you don't need a score. You can just fold it in half just by matching up the ends. But if you don't have a score, you do want to use a bone folder to get a really nice crisp fold. Okay. All right. So then we're going to go ahead and glue this guy on. Hi, Betsy. How are you doing? Are you getting rain in Hamilton at all? We are getting dumped on right now. And one of our cats is outside. She wouldn't come in. She's not going to be happy when she finally does come in. That'll teach her to come when she's called. Okay, there we go. Now I am going to stamp the inside of this because the sentiment finishes on the inside. It says, "You're just like cookies. You make everything better." So we're going to stamp a panel for the inside of this card. So I have another Whisper White panel that is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And I'm going to bring back my early espresso ink. Hi, Sue. How are you? How are things in Calgary? I'm hearing it's been cool this week in Calgary. So we're going to stamp "You Make Everything Better" in the early espresso. And then we're going to stamp one more cookie. And we're going to put this away so that we don't have a disaster. And then we're going to add the solid image over top to fill it in. And again, we're going to take our time and try to line this up. Ooh, that was the best one yet. Look at that. Practice makes perfect, right? I should practice offset stamping more. And then I'm going to add just a couple of little asterisks because they're fun. And I can. There we go. Cookies do make everything better. I am inclined to agree. All right, so we're going to put the cookies away. We're going to put these guys away. And then we're going to glue this. I'm actually going to grab my seal just because it's quicker. And we're going to pop that inside our card. And we're done. Isn't that cute? Super simple, but really fun. Really, really fun. Okay, so that's that one done. I'm going to put a few things away, and then we're going to move on to this guy. So this one uses literally scraps of cardstock to build our striped background. Okay, so I have file folders, one file folder for each color in the Stampin' Up! Offering to hold scraps. And when they get to be too full, I start designing cards that use scraps. So this one uses some scraps of early espresso and cinnamon cider to build our stripes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is do some stamping on these 3 strips of cinnamon cider. Now these are cut to, let me just make sure I get the measurements right. So 3 3/4 by 1 inch. Okay, so there are 3 of them. So we're going to start by stamping 2 with the word chocolate. Thanks, Julie. Oh, you've got thunderstorms too, eh, Sue? We have had an insanely hot, dry, well, a couple of weeks here, and are in desperate need of rain, and we're getting it. Let me tell you, we're getting dumped on. Okay, so I'm taking my chocolate stamp, and I am inking it again with the early espresso, and I'm going to stamp once, sort of in the middle of the strip. Okay, then I'm going to ink again. And this I'm just eyeballing. So you just kind of want to try to line it up so that they're about the same, about level. And then we'll do this side as well. It is helpful to make sure your strip is straight when you are stamping. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on another one. So we'll just make sure this is straight. There we go. And ink this guy up. And stamp again. Oh, that one was a bit low. That's okay. And again. Okay, so there are our 2 chocolate strips. Then I'm going to come in with the actual chocolates. I love this stamp. It is so fun. So again, I'm going to start stamping. I'm going to stamp 1 set of chocolates in the middle. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp 1 set that's sort of off to one side. And then another set that's off to the other. Okay, so there are my chocolates. And then we're going to fill them in. So this is a stamp that is designed, just like we had the stamp that was designed to fill in the cookies. This one is designed to fill in the chocolates. So again, I'm going to use cinnamon cider, but I'm actually going to stamp off. I want it to be really subtle, okay? I'm not sure how well that shows on the camera, but it's tone on tone and it's really quite subtle. I tried doing it with like full strength and it was too dark. My cinnamon cider ink pad is still quite juicy. It's still pretty new. And I found it was just a little bit too dark. So I just realized I got some goop on my one stamp. So let's try that again. We're going to stamp off once on our grid paper and then stamp over our image. And it may not even show up on the camera as actually adding any color. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it. I'll move it up a little closer. Okay, it's a really subtle difference just to add a little difference in color. You could totally probably get away without doing it at all if you wanted to, or if you didn't have a cinnamon cider ink pad. Okay, so now we are ready to lay out our strips. Now, this piece of Very Vanilla is cut to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Okay. So as I said, these are each 1 inch wide, and then I have 4 pieces of early espresso, excuse me, that are a ½ inch wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. Okay. So this panel here that we're going to build is 5 inches long. Just going to take a sip of water because I have something in my throat. All right. Nothing like choking on live TV or live video. All right, so we are going to start by lining up. You know what? I'm actually going to grab my mat because I am so bad at seeing white on white. So I'm going to put my light piece of cardstock on a dark background, and it's going to make it much easier for me to see my border. Okay, so this first strip is the most important one. Okay, I want to glue it down so I have a narrow little 1/16 of an inch border on 3 sides. Okay, so I'm going to put just a little squiggle of glue. Come on. And we're going to glue this guy down. And again, I'm using the liquid glue because it gives me that little bit of wiggle time to get this exactly where I want it. Okay, so once I have that in place, then it's just a matter of gluing the rest of the strips down and just butting them up right next to the other. So that's why getting that first strip in the right spot is so important. If you don't, you're gonna notice. So again, I just want to make sure that I'm being really precise as I'm gluing these guys down. And just taking my time. Hi, Ann. How are you? Hi, Claire. Are you guys getting rain in Guelph, Claire? We are getting quite the storm here. It is very, very dark. I came down and told my husband how dark, to look outside and how dark it was. And he's like, what time is it? I said, it's only 7:30. It's really dark. And we're just going to keep building our background here. I'm going to add a strip of the espresso. How are you doing, Anne? I hope you're well. Hope you've had a good week. I saw you took my friend Selena and her girls out for a drive in your cool car. I'm sure they had a blast. So we're going to pop this guy on. And then one last one. And if I haven't screwed up, we're going to have a nice border at the bottom. Woohoo! I did it right. It's always very satisfying when you get to the end and it works. When it doesn't work, it's a little bit frustrating. Okay, so we're going to glue this last one on right at the bottom. And there we go. I think this looks like, you know those layered chocolates that you can get that have like chocolate and then like a caramel nougat in the middle? That's what it reminds me of. We have a really awesome chocolate shop here in Cambridge called Reed's. And they have a chocolate that looks just like that. So that's what it reminds me of. Those of you who are in Cambridge know what I'm talking about. All right, so we are going to layer this on a piece of crumb cake, or not crumb cake, cinnamon cider cardstock that is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So we're going to layer this. And again, we're just going to have a narrow border all the way around. And again, I'm using my liquid glue just to get that wiggle time to get it nice and straight. And then finally, we're going to glue it onto a piece of early espresso cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. Exactly the same as the last card in terms of dimensions. So you could actually take one piece of cardstock and get these 2 cards out of one piece of cardstock. One piece, or 2 card bases, I should say. Not the entire card, but the card bases. Oh, Julie, I think it's time for you to take a drive to Reed's. They're open. I drove by there yesterday, actually, and saw that they were open. So I may need to make a stop in there. Oh my goodness, Anne, I can't believe you're driving around in a convertible in this heat. That is hot. Hot, hot, hot. Okay, so last step is to stamp our sentiment, which is because adulting is hard. And yes, adulting is hard. It's stuck to the bottom of my ink pad. Stamping is hard apparently tonight too. So I'm going to stamp that with some early espresso ink. This is just a little scrap of Very Vanilla. It is a 1/2 inch wide by I think 2 inches long. It's just a little scrap. So again, we're going to ink up our Because Adulting is Hard. And we're going to try to get this straight. I'm going to move this down just a little. You guys may not be able to see very well. I'm sorry, but I need to see the stamp. See, it's too low. Stamping on camera is not an easy thing. Okay, let's try that. That's better. Okay. Alrighty. Then we're going to just notch one end into a banner. I've got glue on my finger. It's sticky. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you again how to cut a banner end. So we are going to just snip in as far as we want our banner to go. And then we're going to go from one corner into the little snip and the other corner into the little snip. And there we go. Easy peasy banner. Okay. And then this is going to get glued on to our card. Now I'm gluing this so that it is flush with the edge of the Very Vanilla piece. Okay. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glue. No dimensionals on this one, guys. I think this might be the first card I've ever made. Well, I didn't use any on the last one either, but okay, I'm lying. It's not the first card I ever made, but it's one of very few cards I've ever made that doesn't use dimensionals. I love my dimensionals. We're going to use some on the next one. Don't worry. Okay, there we go. Oh, I put too much glue on here. Now it's wiggling on me. There we go. Done and done. Here we go. Okay, now on the inside. Oh, I didn't do anything on the inside of this one. You can use your imagination for the inside of that one. How's that? All right. Let's get a few things out of the way here. Get this out of the way. We don't need those anymore. And we're going to bring in our last one, this fun, colorful one. Now, if you've been following me on social media this week or watched my video on Tuesday, you know that this is the week that my husband and I were supposed to be in Maui on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip. However, COVID-19 had other plans, and that trip has been rescheduled for next May, keeping fingers crossed that we're able to go in May. But I have been dreaming of Maui all week and the frosty, fruity beverages that I could be drinking on the beach. So this card again is me dreaming of Maui, okay? And we are going to do this scrappy strip technique. So this has been around for a little while, pioneered by Bruno Bertucci from Australia. And this is a great way to use up scraps. You can do it with cardstock, you can do it with designer paper, but it's a great way to use up little scraps. So I've gone ahead and cut a bunch of just strips. So what you do is cut your strips at an angle, okay? You want them to be at all weird, jaunty angles. This one is for my sentiment. That's why it's not angled. But you just want it to look weird. Like this looks like nothing, right? It looks like garbage. But we're going to use those to build our fun and funky background, okay? All right, so on my piece of Whisper White here, this is, I think, 2 3/4 inches square. I've actually put some of our adhesive sheets, okay? That's just gonna make putting all these strips on faster, so I don't have to apply a bunch of liquid glue, get glue all over my fingers. This just makes it really, really quick. So I'm gonna peel off my backing, and this is quite sticky. And again, I am going to work on a dark background. Not only will it help me, but it'll help you guys see what I'm doing too. Okay, so then we're going to start with one strip, and your first strip needs to be, I'm actually going to do it this way because I can see better. It needs to be aligned with the edge, one edge of your cardstock. Okay, so we've got that first strip on there. Then we're going to just start building, and you can play with the widths. You can do whatever you like, but the bottom line is you want to make sure that, again, your strips are butting right up next to each other. Okay, and the other thing that I like to do on this one particularly, I like to vary the direction of the points or the angles. I feel like that gives visual interest. So let's grab this guy. We're going to put this one down here. Is this going to be long enough? Oh, just. So we're going to put that guy on there. And we'll go for a, whoa, don't stick it. We'll go for a narrow pink one. So if you were using liquid glue, it's a little bit easier because you do have that wiggle time. But again, the adhesive sheets are really tidy. You don't get that liquid glue ooze that sometimes happens when you're doing a lot of gluing. What do we got under here? Let's do this guy here. And we need one more. Narrow little pink one. We'll add, see if that'll fit on there. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, doesn't look like much, does it? Okay, so now we are going to flip this over and we're just going to cut off along the edge. Now, you could do this. In fact, I think I will. If you have a guillotine trimmer, you could totally do this with your trimmer. If you don't, you could just use your paper snips. Okay, but you're just going to trim right along that edge. That's going to cut off part of my cardstock. Don't want to do that. There we go. Chop and rotate and chop again. And one more time on this side. And this one I just need to clean up just a titch. Get rid of all of that. There we go. I love my little mini trimmer. Like, absolutely love, love, love it. In fact, I might be giving one of these away before too long. You just have to stay tuned. All right. Let's get all of this garbage out of the way. But isn't that a fun background? I just love it. It's just so colorful and fun. All right. So then we're going to layer that on a plain old piece of Whisper White. So this was 2 3/4 square. This is 2 7/8. Okay, and you're going to see when I glue that on there, it's going to have just a narrow border. I might need to trim a little bit off the bottom just to tidy that up. So we'll throw a bit of glue on there. Yeah, that was a happy little accident there, Jill. It doesn't usually work out that well for me. I often end up having to trim all 4 sides, but this time I didn't. It was a happy little, and again, I need my dark background so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Isn't that great? Love it. Okay, so now we are going to stamp our yummy cocktail. So we are going to do that in, I'm just using Magenta black. It doesn't really matter which black ink you have. You could even use gray if you don't have black. I know our black ink has been on back order for quite a while. So we're going to ink up our little cocktail glass here and stamp it on this little strip. And I should probably tell you the measurements for this little strip, shouldn't I? This little strip is 1 1/4 wide by 2 inches tall. Man, my throat today. I love my trimmer, Julie. I use it all the time. Like all the time. It basically lives on my desk. It has a home, but it's never in its home. If that makes any sense. All right. So now we are going to stamp with Magenta Madness. We're going to stamp the contents of our yummy cocktail glass. So I'm going to ink this up. And again, I am going to attempt to get this relatively centered. Not bad, not great, whatever. This is not a stamp set that you want to do when you're not looking directly down on your images that you're stamping. And then we're going to do our little umbrella. Well, that wasn't bad. That one worked. And then we're going to do our little lime slice in Granny Apple Green. So, sorry, the umbrella was stamped in Coastal Cabana. And for my lime slice, I'm actually going to stamp off so it's a lighter shade. Okay? All right. Now we're ready to go ahead and glue that. I'm actually going to pop it up. Yes, I am caving. I am breaking the simple stamping rules, and I am using dimensionals. I can't do all 3 cards without dimensionals. It goes against everything I stand for. All right, so we're going to go ahead and glue this guy on here. Okay, just popped up in the center of our fun background. And then we're going to stamp on our card base. I don't often stamp directly on a card base. I usually have a layer, but I decided to live dangerously. And we are going to freehand stamp the word cocktails all the way down the left side of this card base. So based on how well I've been doing with lining things up so far this video, I think you can probably predict how this is going to go. But we'll see. Maybe I'll surprise myself. All right. Here we go. So when you are figuring out your spacing, you want to have this piece on, okay? It helps you to kind of get an idea of where you want to put your the first word. So what you want to do is stamp your first one sort of in the middle, and you want to center it between the edge of the card and your focal image, okay? So we're going to ink that up, and we're going to try and keep this straight, and we're going to stamp. Okay, first one's done. Not so bad. Then we're going to keep working our way down. And I'm actually using the lines on my grid paper. So I'm doing it every 2 squares. And this guy's going to come off the edge a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go up above. And we're going to keep going. And not bad. Not perfect, but not bad. All right, this is now going to get glued on. Oh, no, it's not. We got to put our sentiment, stamp our sentiment first. Here we have a 1/2 inch scrappy strip of Magenta Madness. And we are going to take our, because adulting is hard, stamp as soon as I grab it from the other basket. Let's stamp it off a little bit. We're going to stamp it in the black ink. So again, we're going to just, oh, here we go again. I need to move this closer to me because I can't see what I'm doing. That's not bad. Oh, that's a little low. Let's try again. That's why paper has 2 sides, right, you guys? Not much better, but we'll take it. Okay, so we're going to close that up, and then I'm going to bring in my magenta ink again, and I'm going to add just a few little asterisks because I can and because they're cute. So we'll just add a few behind our sentiment here. There we go. One more down here. There we go. And then we're going to trim a little banner end. Now you totally don't have to trim a banner, okay? If you don't like going to the effort of trimming a banner, you can totally just leave it straight. I just like having that little decorative end on it. So we're just going to trim that in. One corner and the other corner. And I got to tell you, the more you do this, the better you get at it. Or you can buy the punch that's coming in the holiday catalog. There is a punch that will punch these banner ends for you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue this down. So we're going to pop it on, and I'm going to do it sort of right between two cocktails. And it would probably be good if I did it straight-ish. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to glue our focal image on. And we are done. Look at that. Isn't it fun? Now on the inside of this one, I did stamp. I just stamped another cocktail glass. You could put happy birthday. You could put whatever on the inside of that one. But that's that. Isn't that fun? Cute? You like? I hope. All right, let me bring back all three projects. Actually, this guy needs to go down here because these are verticals. There you go. Super quick and easy. Great way to use up scraps to create just fun strippy backgrounds. Okay, so don't throw away your scraps of cardstock. Like I said, I keep the mine in a file folder, and then I just, when it gets to be too full, I do a couple cards with fun backgrounds like this. Okay, all right, so that is it for me tonight, you guys. I hope you enjoyed these. Now before I go, I need to show you, this came today. So I have some catalogs on hand that I am ready to mail out to anyone who requests one. Now, if you have placed an order with me in the last 12 months, you are already being mailed one. Yours has already gone out from Stampin' Up. I think they were mailed on Wednesday. So you should be seeing it in your mailbox in the next couple of weeks. However, if you have not placed an order with me before, or you have and it's been a while, I would be happy to send you one of these free of charge. You just need to let me know that you want one, and I will pop one in the mail to you. Okay, I can't show you the inside of it yet. Trust me, it is awesome. It is huge. It's like 87 pages, and so many gorgeous, gorgeous new products. I cannot wait for you to see it. So if you would like one of these, give me a heads up, and I will pop one in the mail. All right. Okay, everybody, that's it for me. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope those of you that need rain get it. And I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.